You sit in front of your monitor. Your library is packed with hundreds of games. Your desktop is covered in shortcuts. You click on one of them, stare at the loading screen, listen to the main menu music, and 15 minutes later, you hit quit. You just don't want to. Inside, there is an absolutely crushing, sickening feeling of emptiness. Games no longer give you the emotions they used to. There is no magic of discovery, no adrenaline, no feeling of deep immersion into a new, uncharted world. What used to be your greatest passion and your ticket to another reality has now turned into a gray, faceless routine. You go online, trying to figure out what is wrong with you, and immediately, you stumble upon hundreds of videos and articles from armchair psychologists. They look at you from their screens and confidently diagnose you. You have gaming impotence. You are just burned out. It is natural aging. Your dopamine receptors are fried, man. Find a new hobby. Go touch some grass. And you start to believe it. You think, maybe I am just mentally dead. Maybe I really am too old for all this. But today, I want to tell you the truth. The truth they try so hard to hide behind smart psychological terms. You are perfectly fine. Your brain is working absolutely normally. The problem is not you at all. Video games are not dead. The industry itself is dead, and it is trying to convince you of your own inadequacy. Let's dig deeper. Yes, a human being cannot be happy endlessly. Yes, serotonin and dopamine eventually run out. But what if you lead a completely normal life? What if you don't sit at the PC for days on end, but just want to relax in the evening after a hard day? For the sake of an experiment, many of us quit gaming for months, going on that famous dopamine detox. And you know what happened when we came back? Nothing. No magical surge of emotion. Modern games still felt like bland, unbearably boring cardboard. Because the reason lies in total, systemic copying, and the absolute cowardice of developers. Publishers and giant studios no longer want to create. They want to hide in an absolutely safe, marketer-calculated field. They assemble games using the exact same dead template. Look at modern blockbusters. They are just recycled versions of past installments with a minimal cosmetic facelift. Massive, but absolutely empty open worlds. Endless resource gathering, mandatory hiding in the bushes, season passes, plastic, soulless side activities that are created not to captivate you, but only to artificially stretch your playtime. Fetch this, bring that, clear this outpost, and get lost. Remember what happened to the concept of a true adventure. Instead of giving you a deep story where your choices actually impact something, they feed you an endless, mindless grind. They force you to clear the exact same repetitive dungeons over and over, fighting the exact same enemies, just to get a gun that deals 2% more damage. You are no longer an explorer, you are a lab rat in a maze pressing a lever for a piece of cheese. Remember the times when a game could pull you in completely with its atmosphere alone? When you could wander through the Mojave Wasteland in Fallout, New Vegas, making decisions that fundamentally changed the fates of entire factions. You weren't grinding dull numbers in dungeons. You were living a story. That feeling of real consequences and deep narrative immersion was simply replaced by a digital shopping list. Everything repeats year after year. Every new release, like Horizon, God of War Ragnarok, or the endless conveyor belt of Assassin's Creed, feels not like a work of art, but like another piece of gray corporate software. The textures change, but the core remains dead. A game is not a living creature. If you force a person to live the exact same mechanical loop over and over, their emotions will inevitably atrophy. It is like watching the exact same TV show with the exact same plot twists 100 times in a row. But it gets worse. The industry changed the very philosophy of game design. Enter the live service games, milking machines created exclusively to take your attention hostage. Warzone, Apex, Fortnite, endless session shooters, and gacha casinos. Their main goal is not to give you bright emotions or a new experience. Their goal is to put you on a digital leash. They smear you with skins, battle passes, daily quests, and limited time events. At first, you think there is nothing wrong with it. You play with friends, you chat, but over time, you stop getting a whole, satisfying sense of completion. Firing up a new match, you are chasing the ghost of pleasure. With every new victory, your dose of happiness shrinks. Victories become mundane, and defeats only cause a toxic, desperate desire to win back at any cost. It is an endless loop with no finale. You are forced to log into the game every week, just so you don't miss out on exclusive content or fall out of the meta. Your hobby mutated unnoticed. It turned into an unpaid second job. You pay with your time, your nerves, your money, and in return, you get only gloom and irritation. The entertainment is gone. And when they tell you again that you just got old, spit in their face. Let's remember how it used to be. Both us in our school years and our fathers, we got the exact same insane pleasure from games. While you were racing through the Night City in NFS Underground 2, your dad was annihilating monsters in Painkiller. And nobody from the older generation complained about gaming impotence. Why? Because there was a technological and ideological chasm between games. In 2004, the first Far Cry came out, and just 3 years later, we got STALKER and the first Crysis, which literally melted our graphics cards. Do you even realize what a colossal leap that was in just 3 years? And the legendary GTA San Andreas? The sheer volume of new mechanics, possibilities, and atmospheric shifts simply blew players' minds. Studios took risks. They wanted to stand out, to hammer their names into the history of the industry. Players physically did not have time to get bored, because every new project challenged them and broke the standards. Looking at this evolution, we thought that in 15 years, games would become absolute masterpieces. We imagined incredible worlds, and now the future has arrived. And what do these giant corporations with billion-dollar budgets tell us? They say, guys, it's not us making bad games, it's you becoming too demanding. We didn't become too demanding. You just have nothing to offer us. The numbers don't lie. Look at the analyst reports for 2023. Do you know what percentage of global gaming time was spent on old games, those older than 6 years? 61%. 61% of the time, people are sitting in old projects because the new ones put them to sleep. User scores on aggregators are dropping year after year. The industry is stagnating. 90% of all profits are scooped up by just a few dozen of the exact same monopolistic games. And now look at how modern games treat you. They treat you like a single-celled organism, like an idiot who cannot put two and two together. They hold your hand. They paint every ledge you need to grab with bright yellow paint. They spoil the puzzle solution in the main character's voice after just 3 seconds if you suddenly stop to think. They strip you of any opportunity to be an independent explorer. Even Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is a beautiful, dynamic game, but it feeds you the exact same combat loop, time after time. The game is terrifyingly afraid of challenging you. Companies want you to play without thinking. They want the difficulty to be just a pretty illusion. They turn games into soapy interactive movies, killing the very spirit of gaming, the joy of overcoming obstacles and mastering new mechanics. Even hardcore genres like Souls-likes, which initially appeared as a lifeline, have turned into dull chewing gum. The difficulty has become an illusion. It all comes down to the primitive memorization of timings and dodge rolls, project after project, and this too starts to make you yawn. Some corporate defenders scream, but it's a business. Look at Apple. They release the exact same iPhone every year too. But comparing video games to smartphones is the highest degree of idiocy. A smartphone is a tool that wears out. A video game is a creative, artistic product. You cannot put the mass production of a soul on an assembly line. To make a great game, you need starving artists, rebels, fanatics of their craft. And when a game is run by managers in suits who have never looked their players in the eyes, and just balance risk spreadsheets, we get a dead, sterile product. Gaming impotence is not your fault. It is the result of structural changes across the entire industry. The industry is bogged down in cyclicality, cowardice, and greed. Of course, the magic hasn't disappeared completely. Baldur's Gate 3, Kingdom Come, Death Stranding. Projects that break the mold are still coming out. Real games still exist. They demand immersion. They demand your mental effort. They force you to live in their world. So stop digging into yourself and looking for psychological trauma. Stop buying raw, soulless projects on release day. Do not torture yourself with live service games that suck the life out of you. Respect your time and your emotions. If a game doesn't bring you joy, delete it without the slightest regret. Your passion for games hasn't gone anywhere. You are just tired of eating digital plastic. Step out of this gray matrix and only play what truly has a soul.